All right, we will go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the Virtual College Exploration for All Missouri Students that's sponsored by the Missouri ACAC and StriveScan. Just want to go over a few housekeeping reminders for everyone. So you will have the opportunity to ask questions of the presenters. To do that, there is a Q&A button that you guys can use to submit your questions at any time. We don't have a raise hand feature in this webinar, but go ahead and type any questions you have in the Q&A button. Your cameras and microphones are all automatically turned off, so you guys don't need to worry about that. But just keep in mind the panelists cannot hear you. So if you have a question, make sure that you utilize that Q&A feature. We have a ton of sessions going on. If you want to check out the full schedule for future sessions, you can do that at www.moacac.org. And all the sessions will be recorded. So if you see something on that schedule and you have a conflict, you can't attend it live, check it out. There will be a recording posted online within a week of that webinar. So you can still have the opportunity to see it. And on that note, I will turn it over to our panelists for tonight.
Okay, well, I will get started when she stops screen sharing. Okay, I will share my screen and just kind of get rolling. But hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are so excited to be talking to y'all tonight. Just kind of about your college search and what it looks like to go through the college search during this COVID era. So we'll just all start by introducing ourselves and then we will get going. So my name is Samantha Thomas. I am the St. Louis Regional Admissions Representative with Kansas State University. I'm going to let Amanda introduce herself.
Hey everyone, my name is Amanda Sisk. I am a regional recruiter with the University of Alabama. I'm based in St. Louis as well, and I work with students throughout the state of Missouri.
Hi everyone, I am Ashley Beck. I am the regional recruiter for the University of Kentucky. I also live locally in St. Louis, and my territory covers all of Missouri and Southern Illinois.
Hi everybody, my name is Tim Eggleston. I'm the St. Louis Regional Admissions Representative for the University of Missouri, also known as Mizzou. I'm based in St. Louis and travel across the entire St. Louis area.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I will get us started and kicked off. We just wanted to kind of start with talking about what the college search traditionally looks like, kind of pre-COVID, what a student would have gone through on their path to applying and finding a school. So traditionally, it would kind of start with going online and doing that surface level research, finding different majors that interest you, different programs, asking about scholarships, all that good stuff. After that, if you were interested in a school, you had the opportunity to attend an in-person high school visit. That is when we would come to your school, sit down with you and a couple other students, maybe your entire class, and tell you about our school, basic information, just kind of give you the overall feel and the overall impression. After that, you were able to attend college fairs. And if you've attended college fairs before, you know you get the opportunity to be exposed to a ton of schools all at the same time. You can go table to table to table, asking questions, collecting information, getting the newest, shiniest materials that answer all the questions that you might have and just give you even more than you didn't even know that you needed about all of our schools. After that, you'd get to come on a campus visit. So come to our campus, really feel for what the campus looks like. What are the students like? Is it the right size? Is it a good location? Is it far enough from home? Is it close enough from home? All that kind of stuff. And then after you've done all those things or a combination of a few of those things, you are able to apply. So that's kind of the traditional path of what students took pre-COVID and what it looked like. Now things are just a little bit different. So I want to talk about some of those things too. But now this is kind of the path that we expect students to take in this COVID era. And like you can see, there are a couple things that are similar, but they just might look a little bit different. So the first thing is still doing that research and looking online at schools. A couple of us are going to talk about each of these steps in a little bit more detail as we go. But you just have so much more information at your fingertips than you ever did before. Going online and doing that research, there's just so much that you have access to that you can explore online. You now get to attend virtual visits, and I know we're going to talk about that too, but that's going to be a really popular way for you to get to explore schools, attend different events, and just kind of take that next level step with a school. Connecting with your college rep, like each of us introduced ourselves before, we are your go-to connection to a university. So connecting with us in whatever way you choose to do that, a video chat, a phone call, emails, texting, whatever it is, connecting with your college rep is so important compared to how it was before. And it was important before, but we really are your gatekeeper to answer your questions, to get you the things that you need and the information you need to know to keep taking steps towards the application while you're exploring all of our schools. Going on a tour, a self-guided tour, an in-person tour. Again, we're going to talk about this later, but that is a really great thing that you can do now. Some of us have started offering in-person visits again, but some schools aren't. So whether that's you exploring the school on your own time, going on a self-guided tour, a virtual tour, things like that, and ultimately then applying. So while the paths do look a little bit different, they do have really similar steps. And we want you to know that even though you're going through your college search right now and things might look a little bit different, the overall process and the timeline of things is very similar. So I'm going to pass it off. We're going to keep going, kind of talk about each of these steps a little bit more in depth and what they might look out for you now.
Thanks, Sammy. So first and foremost, as Sammy alluded to, we realize in a normal school year, you might meet one of us at your high school during a visit or perhaps at a college fair. And that's, for the most part, going to be really tough to do this year. You may be walking through a college fair and happen to see, the Mizzou, the K-State, the Alabama, or the Kentucky table, and just walk up and shake hands and, hey, tell me a little bit more about your school. We have some alternative pathways now, but we still really want to get to know you. So if you're interested in any particular college out there, we'd encourage you to start online and fill out an information form, or oftentimes you can find the admissions counselor assigned to your territory, and you don't feel like you have to have any questions necessarily. Just send us an email and say, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm interested in your institution and I'm interested in learning more. So a brief introduction is a great way for us to establish that relationship as we continue your college search, because we're kind of scrunching that college search and that application process all in a smaller window. The next thing I want to mention is how really college representatives are not necessarily there to convince you that their college is the hands down absolute best college for you. We are knowledgeable about a lot of different colleges and universities out there. We have traveled together in the past. We've heard each other talk about our institutions in the past. So if you're unsure of, hey, does this school have this particular program? Even if we might not have that program, we're going to be pretty well informed as to which colleges and universities might offer specific programming. So we also do a lot of college planning type presentations as well. We've all worked in the higher education industry for quite some time now. So just think of us as local resources. College representatives are really there to serve as a resource about the college search process, not so much that this is not so much sales, if that makes sense. It's really more about finding the right fit. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here shortly. So please reach out to us. Let us know if you have any questions, but just simply start with an introduction if you're wanting to learn more about our institution. Next slide, please. As Sammy alluded to it, and as many of you are exploring, colleges almost overnight went virtual. We knew we had this capability to, use Zoom or Google Hangouts, but we completely overhauled the way that students can get to know our institution once COVID rolled around. So that's through virtual information sessions. If a student comes on a campus visit, they would sit in a room to watch a presentation about the institution. We have those virtually. You can meet one-on-one with an admissions representative. Maybe you've thought about taking an in-person tour, but perhaps a virtual tour might be a good starting point. That could be a virtual tour where you're kind of clicking around on different buildings using like an interactive map, but some colleges have actual like FaceTime and Zoom tours with a college tour guide. Attending college fairs or even programming like the this MOACAC program that's being put on. We're just thrilled that you're here. We know there's a lot that you need to know, and just know, as you see with all of these different options, there's a bunch of different ways for you to learn more about various colleges and institutions. Another way too is using social media. We know that Zoom fatigue is a real thing. Let me also say we're thrilled that you're joining us on this Zoom today, but perhaps it's a little bit easier to take in some information about colleges and universities through, Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. Colleges are trying to reach students where they are. So sometimes just following some accounts of various colleges and universities can be a good way to at least have some reminders regarding the college search process. So just also, I think probably the most important thing that I can stress is even though we are kind of separated through this process, I think it's also really important to try to connect with current students. In past years, it would have been difficult for many of our institutions to send a current student from our college or university to join us at a college fair or at a high school visit, whereas now we can connect you to current students at various institutions to just hear directly from them. Hey, what's it like being a student on that campus? How did you know this was the right college fit for you? We can make those connections virtually, and I think that's probably more helpful than, in many ways, than talking to an admissions counselor. We're all really informed about our institutions, but no longer students. So that's where we really want you to take that opportunity to possibly explore meeting with current students at an institution to hear directly and kind of read those user reviews, so to speak, in terms of choosing a college. Next slide, please. So while there are a lot of different options that you have, we realize once again that Zoom fatigue is a real thing. So there are a ton of different ways that students can get information efficiently. And efficiently, what I mean by that is you can hear from a lot of different colleges and universities at once. So we actually would recommend you check out the MOACAC virtual fairs, which you can see, those are the dates along the left-hand side, September 13th, October 12th, October 18th, and November 8th. Those are virtual opportunities to just kind of jump in and out of a lot of different lines and rooms to learn about a lot of different colleges all at once, meaning they'll be available to answer questions in those particular windows. On the right-hand side, we also do have a local regional admissions office organization called STAR, where you'll be able to learn about 20 colleges all at once. Each college will give about a 2-minute update, a little bit about the institution and some any sort of updates that might be relevant. But you're also going to learn about those 20 institutions over the course of a little bit more than an hour. So those are great ways to kind of learn a lot all at once and then be able to connect from there. Because sometimes it's tough to commit to an entire 45-minute session about one school when you've been, on Zoom a big chunk of the day. So you can register for both the MOACAC virtual fairs and our STAR events at either of those websites at the bottom, and we will also follow up with an email with those links as well. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda.
Okay, perfect. So far we have focused a little bit more on virtual events and opportunities, but we also want to make sure that you are aware that in-person visits can still be an option to you. So many campuses right now are offering both in-person visits, but also still offering their virtual tours and virtual information sessions. We know and we realize that some students and families are wanting to visit campus and are ready to visit campus, and others might be waiting a little bit longer. And so we do still want to keep those virtual options available for you. So there's different types of visits that you can partake in. Some of them are going to be organized by the university itself, but a lot of times too, students and families will explore universities on their own. Now, each of the universities that are represented here tonight, Alabama, Kansas State, Kentucky, and Mizzou, are all offering our in-person tours again, and we are excited to host you on our campuses. But it's a good thing to know, the university organized visits, they can include campus tours. There might be some information session possibilities. They might be more of like an open house visit day type of setup. So there can be some different options available to you. With COVID restrictions now, it's good to know that a lot of our tours and visit days are operating at smaller capacities. So you just want to make sure that you are booking in advance and kind of planning out your visit so that you can visit where you want to visit and have that official tour. Now, as we've talked about quite a bit already, we as your admission counselors are your best resource to getting knowledge from our campuses. So if you do have any questions about if you can visit campus and what's available and what's a possibility, definitely reach out to us and we'll let you know what's out there. Now, the other option for families right now is to explore a college campus on your own. So one good thing to know is that many colleges do actually have self-guided tours available online. It's something that you can access through the college's website. Usually it's something that you can download to even your phone and use as you walk around campus. Or you can utilize the virtual tours that are on campus websites as well too, and kind of check out the highlights on those as you walk around campus. Now, if you do know any current students, we also would recommend that you make sure that you connect with any current students you know, because they can always show you around unofficially as well too. And they can also give you some great opportunities and to learn about the student experience at the college that you're visiting. So these self-guided tours, these are a great option for either if you're visiting maybe a college campus that hasn't opened up their in-person campus tours yet, or maybe you're able to come to a campus on a day when we don't have our official tours running. This would be a great option to you. And then I always recommend for students and families too, when you're on campus and when you visit campus, try to build some extra time into your visit so that you can explore the local area. We want you to get to know the town. It's where you're going to be during your years in college, so we want you to love it. Definitely feel free to contact your admission counselors. We always have tips of things that you can check out in the area, maybe restaurant recommendations. I know that we all have our favorites, and we just want you to get to know both the campus and in the area that we're located in. Now, lastly, when it comes to visits in the COVID area, one tip is that you really want to make sure that you're aware of any campus or local rules when it comes to COVID, such as like mask requirements, for instance. So you just want to make sure that you're prepared to visit the campus or the town that you're going to. Next slide, please, Sammy. Awesome. Now, I know that we've covered a lot of information for you all so far. And with so much information and different information coming from different colleges, it's going to be really important that you organize your college search. So one thing that we'd recommend is for you to set up a document for yourself, such as the one on the screen here, to help organize some of the key factors in your college search. So it could be anything from admission and scholarship requirements to cost and financial information, contact information, campus visit information, really anything that you might think is important or want to know about the colleges that you're looking at. This is a really great way to help organize deadlines so that you're really sure that you don't miss any really important admission or scholarship deadlines as well too. You're gonna have a lot of different events that are out there for you to attend. I think one of the nice things about having some virtual opportunities is that you'll be able to really get to know some colleges that you might not regularly get to visit. And so it's going to be really important to keep your schedule organized as well right now too. So I know that some of you might be in virtual school right now. Some of you might just be having some additional meetings via Zoom or another online platform. So as you sign up for meetings, one tip is just to make sure that you're also setting calendar reminders for yourself. This could be something that's done on your phone. That way you make sure that you're not missing any important meetings, and we also don't miss out on chatting with you during our virtual high school visits or other presentations that we have available. Now I know that Tim also talked about Zoom fatigue, so it's going to be really important with so much being online right now to make sure that you sign up for things that you're interested in and are important to you and that you want to learn more about, but maybe don't overschedule yourself to help combat that Zoom fatigue as well too. Now I'm going to turn it over to Ashley.
All right, as Sammy alluded to in the beginning, COVID has really made accessibility so great in this time. So, in this new virtual world we're living in, it has created us, or has it allowed us to be more flexible, and you guys as well, to meet with us or your high school counselor or take a virtual visit. And it's also really forced colleges to kind of reinvent our recruitment strategies in our events. So while a lot of our events will be virtual, especially this fall, fingers crossed the spring will look a little different. I think what you'll find is that you'll have a lot more targeted events available to you based on your specific interest, because we've had to get creative as well. And like Amanda said, take advantage of these opportunities. I know that the process can be overwhelming and you're probably so over Zoom, as are we. But the reality is that this might be your new reality. This might be what your college search process looks like. And so we do want to urge you just to embrace it and take advantage of the opportunities that you have, because I guess be selective, but hopefully the more prepared you are, the less stressful your college search should be. And it shouldn't be all stressful. This should be fun. This is an exciting part of your life. So take advantage, use COVID to your advantage. Next slide, please. If I'm honest with you, the reality is that finding your perfect fit for college can be overwhelming. I think a lot of students would agree to that. Especially given the current situation. But you don't have to do it alone. You can do it alone, but it's going to be a lot easier if you utilize your support system. On the screen, I have 4 kind of support systems to keep in mind, but pay attention to that bottom tip. It is important to know which support system you should utilize and when. So the first one, high school counselors. So they have many roles, and it's not just to help students kind of achieve their college and career plans and their goals. They also work with students on academic and performance issues, behavioral issues, skill building. They counsel families, among many other things. And on top of that, a lot of the counselors that work in your high school have really large caseloads. So they might be working with hundreds of students. They might be responsible for an entire senior class. And the reality is that they just don't have enough time to maybe hold your hand throughout the entire process. So just kind of a tip is related to your college search. You should reach out to your counselors for college and career planning, academic issues, maybe if you need an academic letter of recommendation and they know you pretty well. Transcript requests usually come from your guidance office. And then any other academic related issues is probably what you should reach out to them about. But again, give them some grace. They're really overwhelmed. This fall is already a really crazy time for them. And so just honor that by maybe giving them a couple weeks notice when you need something, and just be patient. Now for admissions counselors like us, We also can wear many hats, and it really depends on the university, but we are typically your go-to resources for all things directly related to our college or university. So some of the things we can do, we will check on your application status. If you have a question on the application itself, come to us. I revise essays. If you need help writing a competitive scholarship essays, many of us just ask. Maybe you want some feedback. If you have questions about scholarships or financial aid, any events, scheduling a campus visit, we're there. And so what I would tell you to do is if you have any issue or question directly related to our specific institution, we should be the person that you reach out to first. And similarly, campus contacts, these can be staff or faculty members that work directly on a campus. They may work in a specific department or an academic college at a university. For example, a financial aid officer, maybe a director of recruitment for the College of Engineering, or a biology professor. So similar to admissions counselors, if you have a question or concern directly related to a program or department, you might choose to reach out directly to that campus contact. But usually if you reach out to us, we will guide you in the right direction. If we can't answer your question, we usually know exactly who to put you in contact with. So if you don't want to reach out to a campus contact first, definitely reach out to us instead. And then lastly, community support. I know you all might be coming in from across the state of Missouri, but all of us live locally here in St. Louis. So these are the programs that I'm most familiar with. And we are really lucky in this community to have resources to help you and your families throughout your college search. So it could be helping you kind of guide you through the financial process, counseling your families, or helping you find local scholarships or grants to fund your way to college or your post-secondary education. Or it also could be finding you a community mentor to mentor you throughout your process. So the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis is one of the organizations that is kind of like the main umbrella. It is a nonprofit here in St. Louis where they usually do financial aid workshops. I'm sure they might be doing one for this MOACAC series. They also provide to qualified students interest-free loans. They also have scholarships available to students. And then under the Scholarship Foundation of St. Louis is Scholarship Central. They are a wonderful organization that I've worked closely with over the past 5 years or so. And they basically have a platform. If you go to myscholarshipcentral.com, or it might be .org, I apologize, you can build a profile on there. And based on your responses, so your FAFSA, details, where you live, which school you attend, your grades. They have a database of over 100 local scholarships across the state of Missouri, but the majority of them currently are in St. Louis. Some of them even extend into the Metro East. And based on your responses, it will pull a tailored list of every scholarship in their database that you qualify for. So you don't have to go searching around. It will tell you, hey, Ashley, you qualify for this scholarship. You can apply here. The deadline's here. And so it's kind of a one-stop shop for you to look for local scholarships. Some of them are even available to juniors. It sends you reminders to complete the application. It is just a wonderful, wonderful organization. So I encourage you guys, get on there. A lot of their scholarships don't become available until January 1st. I don't know how COVID will affect all of this and what's offered, but just know if you get on there, this evening and create a profile and you don't see many options, it's because it's still really early in their process. And then lastly, Mentors for College. This is also a program, a nonprofit here in St. Louis that's near and dear to my heart. I've been involved in it for almost 6 years now. They basically help ease the caseload for those counselors that I was talking about. They started with the Parkway School District and kind of expanded. And they said, hey, we have community volunteers who have they might be parents who have recently gone through the process with their students, or it might be admissions counselors like myself who just say, hey, we do this for a living and we want to help others. And if you go and sign up, they will pair you with a community volunteer to guide you through the process. They'll be a good resource for you, whether you're a freshman or even if you're a senior. If you're like, I'm behind and I just need to know what to do, I'm overwhelmed. I might be a first generation college student and my parents can't help me like I was. Seek out Mentors for College. We're here to help you. We have so many volunteers that just want to help you achieve your post-secondary goals. All right, Sammy, on to the next slide. That is basically the end of our formal presentation, but we did want to open it up. I see that there might be some questions in our Q&A box. So I will start with these, and then if you all have any questions as we're going through, feel free to type them in the Q&A box and we'll get to them. The first question is, what is a good number of schools a person should apply to? I would say, I don't know, actually, I don't want to say, I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to overshoot it, but I think in reality, I would say 6 is a good number. 3 to 6, I mean, it also depends on where you are in your process. Some students know exactly, they've done their research, they've visited, they know exactly where they want to attend. I think a good rule of thumb is you don't want to apply to a ton of schools. It costs money a lot of times to apply to university, so it can also be really expensive to apply to, you know, a ton of schools. But a good rule of thumb is you want to have a safety school. You want to have 1 or 2 schools maybe that you're applying to where you know you can get in, you know you'll be happy if you attend there. It's affordable. They have everything you want in a university, but it's going to be an easy shot. You know you're going to get in. And then you might have kind of schools in the middle. Those are your schools that you really want to attend. You're not really sure if you can afford it or if it's a good fit for you. And then you only want to have maybe 1 or 2 reach schools. Those might be the long shots. Maybe they have really strict requirements to get in. Maybe it's just a really rigorous process to apply to, or it's really far away from home, so you don't know if it's really feasible for you to attend. So just make sure, I guess more important than the number you apply to, it's the schools you're choosing to invest your energy in and your time in, and making sure you have a good variety of schools that you can be happy with if you land at any of them.
I think it's also important to consider at that point, like Ashley said, it can be pricey to apply to a large number of schools. So I think it's important, if you're going to apply to a lot of schools, to consider how you apply. All schools have their own application within their website where you can go and apply directly, pay their fee, good to go. But there are also a couple of applications that make it a little bit easier, like the Common App, the Coalition, the Common Black application. And you just kind of can do that if you're looking at a larger number of schools. So be smart about the time you invest, how much money you invest, because you want to be smart about that and be as efficient as you can. Cool. The next question that we kind of have is about scholarships. What kinds of scholarships do different schools have? There's a question here, are there any scholarships? Can somebody kind of talk about just the general types of scholarships that we have at universities?
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that. So this is something, you know, as I kind of talked a little bit about organizing your college search, this is something that you're going to find it will differ a little bit from university to university. So as you get organized and you start keeping track of what different colleges offer, the scholarship offerings from each college, it's going to be important that you keep track of them, because you will find a lot of differences. A lot of colleges, especially some of the public institutions like all of the universities here, might have some scholarship opportunities that are available for students based on your academics and how you've done throughout high school. Some scholarship opportunities might be based on the activities that you've participated in, or, you know, any leadership or volunteerism that you've done in the past. So, you know, you're going to want to, as you're looking at colleges, see what's out there for each college, but also make note of if scholarships are automatic opportunities for you, maybe based on your academics, or if there's a specific scholarship application or applications that you want to make sure that you submit by the deadline, so that you can be considered for any scholarships at that university. The other type of scholarship that Ashley really touched base on are outside scholarship opportunities. And these are external scholarships that are offered through outside scholarship organizations. So I always recommend that students apply to both the college scholarships, scholarships offered through the universities they're applying to, but then also be looking at those external scholarships. Sometimes even if the scholarships aren't a huge amount, they can stack up, and it might help pay for your books for a semester, or, something kind of as you go. So anything that you can add on to your search in that way is a good thing.
All right, there was also a question about different types of scholarships for if you're maybe adopted or a foster child. Again, that might be more of a local scholarship where you'll find that. But yes, you can find even some national scholarships. Yes, there will be definitely more targeted scholarships, but you just might have to do a little digging to find those. Another question was, what are some good qualities to have in a college essay? I'm really passionate about this. I told you I revise all of my students' essays if they want me to. What I usually tell students is that we want to know through your writing, we want to get to know you better. A lot of times we don't have interview processes for admissions or even for some scholarships. And these might be spots that there aren't that many to give out, or there might not be that many spots to fill. So you want your essay to really sell who you are. I usually tell students to maybe ask a family member or a friend, like, what are 3 characteristics that define me? Or you can ask yourself that. Write those 3 characteristics down, answer your essay, and at the end, give it to that friend or that family member and say, did you get these 3 characteristics through my writing? If they say no, then you need to go back and revise it. Maybe you're funny. Maybe you are really generous. Maybe you're empathetic. Maybe you're really determined or a hard worker. You need to find specific ways in your writing to let us know who you are. So again, that's just kind of a little tip. I don't know if anyone else has anything to add about good qualities to have in a college essay.
Kind of going off what Ashley said, I think it's important to never shoot for what you think we want you to say. I think that's really important, and students are often thinking, wow, this school has a specific question. I'm going to write this dictionary textbook perfect answer. And that's never the answer that we want to see. And like she said, we want to get to know you. The purpose of those questions and those essays is to allow you that space to kind of elaborate on yourself, tell your story, and have it lift off paper. And if you're trying to answer a question that you think that we have, you're probably going to miss the mark. So the more honest you can be about yourself, the more authentic you can be, the better the essay is going to be, for sure.
And there is, just in case anyone wants like a much longer, presentation on college essays, I see that there is one tomorrow afternoon too, offered through the StriveScan fairs. So you'll get, a lot of information. I believe it's at 4 p.m. if you want to sign up for it. So that'll be a great one to attend.
Looks like there's another, the next question that came through was, how do I know if the major I picked is really good for me? That is an excellent question. We could probably spend a lot of time talking about majors. In the interest of time, just to kind of try to be as succinct and impactful as I can, I would say just doing what you're doing now and asking that question and dedicating a little bit of time every single week to try to have a proactive approach, which I would categorize what you're doing as being proactive. You're thinking about it. We want students to not just expect to wake up one day and know what it is that they want to do. I think all 4 of us probably took a lot of different paths throughout our both high school and college experience that we thought we wanted to do one thing and ended up going in a different direction. And that's completely normal. You're going to have resources on every single college campus dedicated to help you figure out whether a major is a good fit. or if there's something similar or something completely different. I'm a big proponent, if you can, try to just tell people what you're interested in, and they can connect you possibly. It's kind of like a networking idea where you could spend maybe 20 minutes talking to a teacher or an accountant or an insurance broker, whatever it is, whatever direction that you're wanting to go, just start telling people about it and asking them if they might be able to connect you to someone that knows a little bit more about that career field. So I'll leave it at that for now.
I'll add something quickly. I know a few years ago I was sitting on a panel, I think with a Purdue rep, and he said, find something that you're good at and that you're passionate about. And so that might be two ways to look, just to start. Many of us have hundreds of academic programs to choose from at our university, so it definitely can be a little overwhelming. Just know that I think it's like 85% of students are going to change their mind, and it's okay to do that. I was undecided for about 2 years before they forced me to choose a major, and I found, I landed where I should have been all along, thank goodness. But just know that a lot of universities might have exploratory programs where you don't necessarily have to declare a major from day one. If you are like, you know what, I like business, but I don't know if it's marketing or economics or management that I'm interested in, maybe see if they have some type of exploratory studies majors or programs that you can start in, take a couple general classes, get a feel for career paths and what your future might look like. So at the end of that class, you can say, you know what, yes, I know exactly what I want to do now, or maybe business is not for me at all. And then maybe you'll work with a career or an academic advisor to kind of find where you should be. Another question we had about being dually enrolled while in high school, possibly taking some college courses, maybe at SLU or UMSL, and how that will affect your application status. Just generally speaking, each college is different, but usually if you are taking classes while enrolled in high school, it will not affect your status as an incoming freshman, meaning that you will still be able to apply as an incoming freshman and qualify for freshman scholarships, which are usually a lot heftier than transfer scholarships. I know at UK you can also take classes the summer before. Say if you're graduating this year and heading off to UK in August, you can even take some classes over the summer before you head there. The biggest thing is that if you possibly graduate early and maybe have a semester off before you head to college, do not take classes unless you want to be considered a transfer student. That's when it can really affect you or affect your status as an incoming student.
I think an important question to ask your admissions rep too is there a cap or a maximum number of credits that you can bring into a university? And by the nods, I think I'm gonna guess that most universities have some kind of cap or a certain amount of classes and credits that you're able to bring in and still be considered a freshman student. And that's a totally fair question that you can ask, and you definitely want to know the answer to as you're kind of planning your applications and things like that.
And how they will transfer. Just making sure the classes you're taking are even transferable in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we're wrapping up here, but I will say that in addition, we are going to be following up with everyone. I don't know if we'll get the list of participants. I think we're going to get them within a week. So just sit tight and be patient. As soon as we get that list, we are going to be following up with you guys with our presentation. Again, the recording will be available online. We will also be giving you links. I know Tim mentioned some programs you might be interested in attending. I know I mentioned some community organizations. We will be giving you links to all of those resources. And one thing I am going to do a plug for, if you all haven't started participating in kind of virtual high school visits, we know, again, it can be overwhelming to sit through a 45-minute session only on UK or only on, one of our universities. So the four of us and the regional rep for Missouri State University, we have kind of partnered together to do mega visits. And so I think 5 select days throughout the fall. In the evenings, we're doing 45-minute visits. You'll hear about our universities, 5 minutes each. And then we'll wrap up with a fun trivia game where you can win some prizes. So if you are interested in any of our 4 universities or Missouri State, and you have 45 minutes to dedicate, watching that follow-up email, we will give you a link to register for that too. But thank you guys so much. We definitely appreciate you guys being here. If we didn't get to your question, we will definitely get to that. We are going to get a copy of the questions in the Q&A, and we'll be following up with you guys there too. Have a good evening.
Thanks, guys. After you X out of this webinar, you'll see a quick survey. There's only 4 questions. And if you could just take a few seconds to fill that out for us, we would really appreciate it. If you'd like to sign up for more of the sessions, you can see the full schedule at www.moacac.org. And then, like I said earlier, all recordings of all sessions will be available on that website as well. So thank you to all of our wonderful panelists, and thank you to everyone attending this workshop tonight, and we hope you have a great rest of your week.